Welcome back, folks, for a new episode of Leak Dish. Now, 9.15.1 was just released on the test server, and the super testers got 6 new vehicles to play with. Well, technically 4 new vehicles, and 2 vehicles from last year. It's the Rheinmetall Skorpion Waffenträger and the Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger, but both vehicles were leaked last year, so they're technically not new per se, but I'll cover them as well. So we'll take a look at these 6 vehicles and the armor buff for the M103 and the 113 from the HD remodel. So 8 vehicles-ish. But let's get started with the VK6501H, the ultimate dingus wagon. So this is going to be a premium tier 5 German heavy tank. It has 80mm of armor all the way around. It weighs 65 tons, as the name suggests. But yep, 80mm all the way around. So the best way to angle this vehicle is 45 degrees. So exposing the same amount of armor on both sides of the front and the side armor. But it's about 110-ish millimeter effective on the upper plate. Lower plate 130-ish or so. Side armor is 180-ish at the back. Automatic bounce up to 150. Ooh, track will eat 200mm effective shots. Ooh, so that's pretty good. But shoot the radio operator's mount right here, and it's only like 80-ish, 90-ish right here. Ooh, but yeah, it's all right for a tier 5 heavy tank's armor. The upper plate is well sloped, but you will only bounce 120mm or less. So it's alright. I mean, it's a tier 5 heavy tank, so I cannot complain. But it carries 100 rounds of 75mm. So it's the L40, right? L40. So that's a lot of shells. So spam a lot of rounds. But let's take a look at the stats. So penetration is buffed since I covered it. So 92-ish to 108, which is pretty much. That's a lot, actually. So 108 is dramatically different than 92. So that's quite good. APCR shell is the same, so it didn't buff that. But normal AP shell is buffed, so that's great. Alpha is the same. DPM is the same, I believe. So yeah, it's alright. I mean, 1700 is not bad for a tier 5 heavy, so that's okay. Shell velocity is kind of slow, so be aware. Okay, but you carry 100 rounds. That's a lot of ammo. Just spam the shots. Accuracy is pretty good, 0.36, so that's great for a tier 5 heavy. 1.6 seconds of aim time, which is also very good. Shooting on the move is also great, so that's awesome. 10 degrees of gun depression. Turret traverse is only 25 degrees per second, so it's a little bit slow, but it's a heavy. Not bad. Offensive mobility. Okay. So horsepower per turn ratio is the same, I believe. Hull traverse is 30 degrees per second, so it's a heavy, but it's above average, so that's good. They buff the top speed from 20 kilometers per hour to 30. That's great, actually. That's amazing. That's like what? 50% boost. That's a lot. Reverse got nerfed from 20. So it was 2020 for top speed and reverse, but they buffed it. So they shaved off the reverse for better top speed. This is historically inaccurate because this vehicle could only go up to like 20 kilometers per hour, but game balance. This tank might actually be worth it now because the 10 kilometer per hour boost, surprisingly enough. And terrain resistance is above average, so to compensate for the lack of horsepower per turn ratio. Okay. Health is chunky, very chunky, 700 health, so eats up a lot of shots. View range is above average, radio range is above average, camouflage rating is heavy tank, so blah. Doesn't have preferential matchmaking, so it will see tier 7s, but I mean, they did buff the pen and the top speed, so I guess, I don't know. Weighs 65 tons, so it's a heavy tank. But yeah, nice. They buffed the top speed, They buffed the accuracy, or same accuracy, buffed the aim time if it was the same aim time, but most importantly, they buffed the top speed and the DPM. And actually, not the DPM, the penetration for the DPM. But yeah, 108mm compared to 92 is a dramatic difference, very big difference. So I wish they would buff the APCR shell to 150 or so, but you're asking too much. It's a premium tank, so it makes a lot more credits and XP than usual. So I guess if you buff this, I don't know. You have 100 rounds, so just hide in the back and spam the shots. So I guess it's okay. So this tank is actually viable now because the top speed and the penetration buff. So surprisingly, but is it worth it? It's better reviewed now as compared to the leak episode, so I guess it's okay now, I guess, whatever. But you can still buy the low, the VK7001K, the tier 8 premium, or the VK4503H, which is not worth it, so it's up to you. But let's take a look at the Strv M42-57, version number 2. So this is the upcoming Swedish premium medium tank. It's going to be tier 6, introducing the Swedish tech line, a patch before it. So, alright, it's AMX-13's turret on the Swedish M42's chassis, but it has no armor whatsoever. So the best armor is 55mm, and that's pretty much it. The upper glacis is well sloped, but if you have a 90mm gun or above, it's overmatched. So as you can see with the 90mm AP, overmatching the well-sloped 30mm of upper plate. But if you're shooting at it with a 88mm or 85mm, it's automatically bounced. So if you have a high caliber at tier 6, it's going through. But yeah, most other mediums will not, I guess, with the Russians. Nope. So interesting enough, but 90mm AP will overmatch this plate. Upper plate is 90, main plate. Turret is 30, so French turret, French oscillating turret. Side armor is 30. Engine deck, 25. Above the engine deck's roof, 5mm. So no armor otherwise, but it's okay, I guess. Now, what is surprising about this vehicle, as opposed to the time when I reviewed it for the leak episode, is it's using the single shot 75mm. It's not using the autoloader, so we're not getting the 3-round burst from this 75mm. Okay? But penetration is above average for a tier 6 medium. Alpha is above average. DPM is better than the 1300, but it's a single shot, not a burst vehicle, so we're sticking with the single shot now, I guess. Velocity is a high velocity gun, so that's good. Only has 60 rounds, so make those shots count, but you have a high alpha, so it should work. Accuracy got buffed, or no, it's a better accuracy, single shot, so 0.336 and 1.7 seconds of aim time. So single shot stats, I keep remembering the autoloading stats, the autoloader with the crappy accuracy and aim time and the 1300 DPM. So don't shoot this thing on the move. That's below average accuracy. Gun depression 60 degrees, elevation 12. French oscillating turret, so as expected. Turret traverse is slow, below average by 6.5 degrees per second, but hull traverse is average, so okay. Horsepower per ton ratio is only 13.28, so below average, feels slow. Top speed only 45 kilometers per hour, reverse is 20. You do have better terrain resistance to compensate for the lack of horsepower per ton ratio. Alright. Less than average health and less than average view range by 3. Radio range is kinda crap, so and doesn't have preferential matchmaking, so it will see tier 8s. I don't know about this vehicle. I mean, you're using the single shot. It's not the autoloader. It had the autoloader and the single shot, but I guess they took out the autoloader. So, Is it worth it now if you're using the single shot? I mean, it's not a fast vehicle, but it could snipe with a single shot, so you should snipe with this vehicle. I mean, compared to the Skoda T40, the Skoda T40 is fast, but it doesn't have the penetration. It has the alpha, but I don't know. It's a huge target. This vehicle is not that big because judging from the AMX-13's turret, it's a small turret, so this vehicle is not that big, but it looks like Japanese or so because the green color scheme. So I guess the Swedish is going with the green color. Alright. The French is green, the Japanese is green, so basically this tank is green. Looks like a mix between both. So is it worth it now? Well, it's a single shot with 6 degrees of gun depress, so you will have trouble sometimes, and 12 degrees of elevation is a weakness of French turrets, so you have to get used to it. But let's see how the other Swedish vehicles will behave as opposed to this vehicle, because sometimes the premium tank is dramatically different than the actual tanks of the tech line. For example, the Japanese Tiger 1 is not the same as the OY, right? The OYs, the ONIs, the OHOs have a lot of armor, whereas the Japanese Tiger 1 is eh. So sometimes it's dramatically different, sometimes it's the same, so who knows. But there you go, folks. The Strv M42 version number 2. And let's take a look at the Russian Object 257. So that's the upcoming, I cannot click the Russian button, upcoming IS-7 prototype. So the predecessor to the Object 260. What the hell is it? There it is. So another super heavily armored, fast Russian heavy tank, because Russian bias. It has 40 rounds. What? That's the first thing I saw. It has 40 rounds as opposed to like the 30-ish. Whoa, what? It has 10 more rounds? That's not fair. It's the same chassis-ish. Alright, technically ish of the same chassis. It carries, what? 40 rounds? That's not fair. Alright, that's actually a little bit better now considering. But the armor is bouncy, so it's like the IS-7. So 150 at the front. Yep, very bouncy. And it's a V-shape, don't forget. V-shape, super bounciness, 75mm, but it's a V-shape. So like the T-22 medium tank, SR, T-22 SR, CP, whatever you call it. So super troll side armor. Oh my god, this thing is, it's pretty OP. But take a look at the weak spots. It has more prominent cupulas on top. So a little bit more weak spots than the average IS-7 or Object 260s. So shooting right here is the weak spot right here. So let me see if I can see from the zoom. Yeah, you can see the weak spots. It's a lot more prominent than the IS-7, which is not even prominent at all. And a lot more prominent than the Object 260, but if you're just wiggling the turret, you should be fine, so just wiggle. But yeah, geez, 10 more rounds, that's a big difference. Also, you can overmatch the driver hatch right here. So you can overmatch this with 135mm plus. So if you have a high caliber, like 150 or 155, there you go, just easily overmatch the driver hatch right here. And you can overmatch the roof. If you have a 90mm plus. What? It's a 30mm roof? I'm gobsmacked. Wait, it's a 30mm roof. It's like the IS-3. IS-3 has 20mm roof, but it's close to that. So if we have a 90mm gun, come on, give me the 90. We can't overmatch the roof with a 90mm gun. Whoa, that's a big weak spot. So you can overmatch the roof. It's the gun access port for the 122. That's like the IS-3. That's a very big weak spot. I have 2 prominent cupolas on top, so the turret is not that strong. I thought this was like 40-ish, but it's only 30. Whoa, that's huge. Let's take a look at the IS-3 just to be sure. I want to confirm how the gun access port is super weak. It's only 20. Yep, 20 is crap. So if you have a 60mm gun plus, you can overmatch the IS-3's roof armor, but this vehicle has only 10 more millimeters of roof armor on the turret. Wow, that's huge. That's really big. So if you're just taller than the vehicle, like an E100, shooting up to down easily overmatch the roof armor on the turret. That's big. But if you're at a distance, like medium distance, then this tank still could be boss. So it's not a face-hugging tank like the IS-7 or lesser degree Object 260, but it's still pretty strong of a turret. Just don't expose your turret roof. This is huge, and the ammo count is also huge, but good to know. Good to know. So penetration, don't compare with the 260, man. So penetration is above average, alpha below average, DPM below average-ish, but the shell velocity is fast because firing APCR as the default and firing high explosive anti-tank. So good, I guess. Accuracy, Russian, but 0.36 is not that bad. 2.4 seconds aim time is it's okay. It's Russian. It's okay. Elevation is 15 degrees. Gun depression is 5 degrees. So, Turret traverse, 27.1. So, average. Hull traverse, 28. Average. Horsepower per turn ratio is 18.18. So, that's pretty good. And the top speed is 50 kilometers per hour. So, great. Reverse is 15. Terrain resistance is not that great, but it's close-ish to the average. So, it's alright, I guess. Health is the IS-7's health, so lack of health. View range 390 meters. Camouflage rating is above average, so you could hide. But let's compare with the Object 260, just to be sure. So less DPM, only 80, so not that much. And yeah, a lot more shells, better ammo by 33%. That's huge. Accuracy is not as good. And shooting on the move is also not as good, but the same traverse and the same gun angles with the depression and the elevation, okay. Has the same terrain resistance, but less horsepower per turn ratio, so it's slower-ish. Has the same health and less view range by 10. So technically, it has more ammo at the cost of speed and accuracy. So, slight accuracy and slight speed change with view range for more ammo. I mean, 30 rounds is pretty lacking for the Object 260 and the IS-8 when I played the IS-8 and the IS-3. So, 30 rounds or less for 122 is one of the bigger problems for Russian heavy tanks. But this vehicle has 10 more rounds, which is a huge deal. And the turret armor is, dramatically different. So, yeah, I don't know. It's still OP. The Object 260, if played right, is OP. But this vehicle, remember, I'm talking about the roof and the ammo count. But everybody did not forget, just don't forget, this has a V-shaped hull, alright? It has a T-22 medium-esque of a V-shaped hull. The Object 260 has a boxy V shape. So it's not as well sloped, and you can penetrate the side armor more effectively. But this thing has a V-shaped hull with slight nerf towards the accuracy and the horsepower per ton ratio and the view range, but not that much, alright? So basically, it's still pretty OP. It's still pretty OP. So try to get your hands on one, but don't rig for it because that's bad. No. But the V-shaped hull armor and the third roof, okay. More weak spots for the OP hull armor, I guess. But if you can mount a IS-7 turret onto this thing, that thing is broken, alright? Mount the impenetrable IS-7's turret onto this thing, it's just broken as all hell. Surprising on the roof. I'm super surprised. So, yeah, the Russians. I covered the Russians. I covered the Swedish, the Germans. What else is left? I don't know. There's no Americans that I foresee. No, no. Well, oh yeah, the British. I totally forgot. The Chieftain slash, no, the T95 slash Chieftain. This thing. So this is the vehicle I covered yesterday with the Chieftain's turret on the T95 medium tanks hull. So it's like the Chieftain, except you have a smaller hull. I already showed you all the collision models, so it is slightly smaller than the Chieftain. So where is the Chieftain? Oh, it's not medium tank. So ta-da! Derp derp. Alright, just type Chieftain. Chieftain. There you go. So we already compared the collision models with the leak episode, but just to repeat, it's smaller than the huge ass on the Chieftain, but it doesn't have the side skirts. So the turret is the same. The hull armor is debatable, so sometimes better, sometimes not, but it's smaller nonetheless. So yeah, okay. I mean, it's 85 millimeter. I still hate about the 85. Ugh, just disgusting. So it's not uniform. So it's 102 right here, 114 right here, like 51 right here. So shooting the axle for the drive wheel supports is super easy to pin, but then again the hull armor is crap. So 95, 76. So just shoot the hull. Okay, but this is a medium tank, so it has the Chieftain's turret. I guess you have to go hull down with this vehicle, so go hull down. You do have the cupola as the weak spot, but small details. So penetration above average, alpha above average, DPM below average by 232. It carries 50 rounds, so not as the 64 I believe on the Chieftain, so less shells. Accuracy is average, aim time is above average, gun depression 10 degrees, elevation is 20. Traverse is way below average for a medium, so bad. Horsepower per ton ratio is the worst. Terrain resistance is one of the worst. Top speed is good, 56, better than the Chieftain, but doesn't have the health, so 400 meters of view range, below average. Radio is okay-ish. Fires APCR, actually APDS, which is treated as APCR, and APDS-DU, which is depleted uranium, but there's no boost to the damage, so has the hash. So is it worth it? Well, you can compare with the Chieftain more directly. So yeah, less DPM, less shells by 14, less accuracy, less aim time, and DPM is crazy off the charts, 3000 on the Chieftain. It's not even that good in terms of speed. So less horsepower per ton ratio, better top speed by 14, and better terrain resistance, but not much. Health is also not that much more. Does have better view range and better camouflage rating. So medium. I mean, give us the Chieftain or give us the Super Conqueror or modifications of the Chieftain. Oh well, not exciting. Nope. And let's take a look at the M103 armor buff from the HD model again. So they already have the HD version of the M103, but they redid it for more armor. So that's always good. So as you can see, there's more strips of armor on the hull and on the turret. So the turret is 254 on the cheeks now, whereas previously it's like 150-ish. But we'll check. So I have the standard live client right here, and we'll take a look at the M103 and compare. So here is the standard M103. As you can see, less armor on the turret, only 159 on the cheeks, so not that thick. 220-ish millimeter effective. Upper plate is 216, so not that much more armor. But here is the test server. So a lot more armor on the hull. So the beak is just as powerful, but boost to the upper plate. And turret cheeks are buffed, so better turret. And it has a mantlet cover, so it looks prettier now. So I love the M103, and this is basically the HD buff, like the Conqueror's HD remodel. So these two vehicles are super strong, very strong. So that's awesome. And let's take a look at the 113, because that vehicle also gets a buff. If I can only click on the freaking Chinese button. Come on, click on the Chinese button. That's the Czechoslovakian. Come on, guys, I want to press the Chinese button. Yeah, alright, fine. God, make me do all the work. Jeez. I have to type in the 113 to see it. So here is the 113 on the test server. As you can see, the hull is now V-shape a little bit on the upper parts. So it's no longer the just T-shape, it's a V-shape-ish. So the upper plate is 120, well sloped, and they buffed the lower plate to 120, whereas previously it's only 100 on the lower plate, I believe. And they buffed the turret a little bit, so it's a lot stronger on the 113's turret. But let's compare with the regular 113. So as you can see, the regular 113 has a T-shaped hull, so no more side skirts covering this part, so it's a bigger target, bigger surface area. Lower plate is only 100mm, and the turret is only 240mm. So the buff turret is 290 now, so it's even well rounded and thicker, so it's even harder to penetrate this turret. And V-shape hull-ish, rather than the T-shape hull than the current 113. So it's a buff. It's a HD remodel as well. So there you go, folks. All the vehicles getting dramatic change in the upcoming patch. Also the GW Panther, because it looks different, but I was looking at it. It doesn't have the cowl, the cape, because I don't know, reasons. So it's no longer the Dracula that I know, because this is one of my most played vehicles on my account. So why did you remove the cape? Where is the Dracula? But they removed the cape, so no longer you have the cape at the back. So it's open-ish, but the gun arc is the same, so it's still limited by these side panels. So remove these side panels, you can have like a 180-ish or even more degrees of gun arc. Nope. For game balance, you have these crappy side panels to stick up there, like the Panzer Toaster thingy-majig, the tank destroyer. So hate these side panels. Don't need them. Get rid of them. Oh well. But also, the camouflage rating got nerfed by a little bit. So I was looking at this vehicle particularly. They nerfed the camouflage rating. I mean, 6.6% is not great, but it's a whole lot better than 2%. So what the frick, guys? It's one of my favorite vehicles. You nerf it? Why? And let's take a look at the GW Tiger P. They did not nerf the camouflage rating. So why nerf the Dracula? I don't know. But here is the HD GW Tiger P. So nothing different, but just want to show it off, I guess. Just want to show it off. But there you go, folks. The new vehicles that's added in the test server, and the HD remodels of the M103 and the 113. So give it more armor. But yeah, the most surprising vehicle is the Russian Object 257. I can't even click on the Russian button. So this vehicle, I don't know how they're going to release this vehicle. Likely for, I don't know, if it's going to be given out for Clan Wars, then it's basically like saying, play our Clan Wars to not do the personal missions. Something like that. If it's going to be given out for personal missions, then it's like saying, we have two exact rewards for personal missions. You choose between the Object 260 or the Object 257. Okay, but this vehicle has the V-shaped hull with a weaker turret and a little bit more rounds at the cost of speed and accuracy. So it's up to you, but it's still very OP. Just the turret is a little bit weaker, but remember, the hull is a V-shaped hull, so it's just as crazy, if not more so. So yeah, I learned a lot. There you go, folks. The upcoming vehicles. And not to, oh, I forgot to mention the, see, it's from last year. I keep forgetting. the two Waffenträgers, but it's already been leaked for a year plus, and they just released it. So here is the Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger. They already have the gold set and other stuff, so very good, efficient 5,500 gold for a tier 7 TD. So it has the long barrel 88mm L71. It's basically the Tiger 2's gun right here, and it has the buckets. So don't forget about the buckets, the middle buckets, preventing the gun arc. So you're like tracking the target, bucket. Bucket will draw off your shots, but I already know about this vehicle. It has a crazy elevation arc. Ugh. But no armor, just know. The best is 20mm, so gets wrecked with high explosive. So DPM is below average for a TD compared to a Chieftain. What? Compared to normal tank, Sam. But camouflage rating is off the charts, so very good camo. Penetration is good, 203 for tier 7, that's great. But alpha is below average. So okay, shell velocity is fast, accuracy great, aim time great. Don't shoot on the move, you're not supposed to. And traverse is actually fast for the hull. Horsepower per ton ratio is it's like a Rheinmetall Borsig, so And terrain resistance is good, above average, to balance out for the crappy horsepower per ton ratio. Health is below average, but doesn't have preferential matchmaking. We'll see tier 9s, but this gun could work with the accuracy. And you have the gold shell to compensate. But yeah, it's a sneaky Rheinmetall Borsig-ish of a Waffenträger at tier 7. So it's pretty decent. And I love German TDs, so it's a buy for my books. And here is the not the Krupp-Steyr, the Rheinmetall Skorpion Waffenträger, which was released last year. It costs 5,000 gold, which is less. So this is obviously will be changed, but this is basically a Waffenträger based on the Panther chassis. So the Schwagerstelle Panther chassis, modified Panther chassis. So it has no armor, only 30 at the front. So Waffenträgers, but only 50 on the turret. So it's a fully traversable turret, like the bucket, like the Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger. So it has a good penetration gun. It's the 128, so that's great. 500 alpha, great. DPM just below average, so not a big deal. Shell velocity is slightly slow, but not that much. Accuracy, great. Aim time, decent. Gun depression, 7 degrees, workable. Elevation, 14, so whatever. Very good horsepower per ton ratio, and terrain resistance is the counterbalance, but 17 is pretty good, and top speed is 60 kilometers per hour, so it's fast. So this is basically the Grill 15 of tier 8 now. We have stuff to compare. So health is okay. View range is crap. Radio range is also a little bit crap. Camouflage rating is slightly crap. So basically the Grill 15. Yeah, more relevant of tier 8. It's still worth it. If it's 5,000 gold, of course it's worth it, but it should be around 7,000 now. 7,500 or so. Or 8,000, but still a decent buy for me. But this vehicle, alongside with the Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger, was released spring of last year, or leaked. Not released, leaked last year. So it's not a new vehicle per se, but there you go, folks. The new vehicles that's edited in the upcoming 9.15.1 patch. Not to mention the HD remodels, but the HD remodels are mostly cosmetic, so it doesn't buff the vehicles dramatically like the M103 or the 113. So it's still alright, but yeah, those are the vehicles that's coming soon. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.